Meeting will please come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one board member who has given his proxy. Jan Hagan gave his proxy to Director Portillo, and we do expect Mike to be here. First order of business is the election committee, the announcement of candidates for this year's board election, and we have here from the election committee, Margaret Keelan.
Thank you. I wanted to announce the 6 names for verified candidates for the open board positions. J.B. Portillo, Steve McKee, Jim Parsons, Deborah Lukacs, Jackie Gain, and Janice Sims. Next, we're going to pull out of a basket those 6 names, and the order in which they get pulled will be the order they appear on ballots and other paperwork.
Did you have somebody to pull those out, or did you?
Would you like to pull names? Oh, well, we can't have that. Oh, would you like to pull names?
I feel better about that.
Mix them all up. All right, the first name pulled is Jan Sims, Janice Sims. The second name pulled is Jim Parsons. The third name pulled is J.B. Portillo. The fourth name pulled is Deborah Lukacs. The fifth name pulled is Steve McKee. And the last name pulled is Jackie Gain. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the order that the candidates will be listed in every publication and on the ballot, the order that they will participate in the candidates forum on the 12th of March. Got that right. Okay, congratulations. Thank you for putting your name in the hat. Next up is the approval of the minutes, the January 25th meeting, the regular meeting from a month ago. Do I hear a motion? Jerry? Second. Any additions or corrections? All those in favor? 9-0. Next up is last week's meeting, the work session, February 15th. I have a motion on that. Jackie? Jason? Anything on that one? I have a vote on that. All those in favor? 9-0. Next up, the Joint Advisory Committee reports. First up is Recreation. Deborah Lukacs.
Good evening. Oh boy, I broke it. All right, there we go. The Recreation Committee meeting took place on Monday, February 12th. The first order of business was current business, which Tom gave everyone an update on the status of the range, which I think we're all familiar with. What I would like to add to that is right after that meeting, a member of our community grabbed that information and posted it on social media, as well as a link to the first presentation that he gave. And I think that the transparency of communication is having a very positive influence on our community and is a very good way of getting to them with the information. It's being well received. The little bit that I saw, community members came back and forth saying, thank you, appreciate it. So anyway, good communication from what little I saw. Under new business, we were looking to approve 10 third-party events. Third-party events are things that would take place outside of POA activities, if you will. Generally, they will be approved by the committee if they meet a couple of different conditions. First and most important, not impacting our membership's ability to use the amenity. Secondly, it's probably youth-oriented in some manner or charitable in some manner. All that were presented to us were approved quickly. The title of them were, from recreation, our swim team, the paddleboard camp, and the kids triathlon, which this is year 2. We had it last year. The following will take place at the gun range if feasible, so okay, got it. They are the Cancer Challenge Trap Shoot Tournament, the Youth ATA event, the Amateur Trap Shooting Association, the Youth Hunter Education Challenge, the Bella Vista Police Department Weapons Qualification and Training, the Poultry Festival, and corporate shoots. All of those are scheduled when it's normally closed anyway, again, conditions permitting. Amenity highlights, as I always say, everything looked really good, and during this time of the year, most of the comments made had to do around things around maintenance and minor issues, right? It's just the time of the year and the weather and the activity levels. However, a lot of our members from our committee really had interactions with a lot of POA members this month. Excuse my lack of breath, I'm getting over a cold. And I wanted to read to you some of those comments because I just think it gives us another touch base of where our community is with what's going on with our amenities. They are as follows. I spoke with a family, this is at Metfield, I spoke with a family at the playground. They mentioned how much they enjoy all the facilities at Metfield. In this instance, I spoke with Larry. He and his family moved here a year ago. He loves the BV Rec remodel. He goes every other day to lift weights and could not say enough about the quality of the equipment, if you will. Overall, he is extremely happy and went on for a while about the amenities offered by the POA in relation to the low cost. He did say, however, he also enjoys kayaking. He wanted to keep his kayak at Lake Windsor, but he was told there was an 18-month to 2-year wait list. Over at Blowing Springs, a couple was interviewed walking the trail, altogether very pleased with everything they've encountered, and they were very complimentary. They said most local people practice safe riding techniques, but felt that rental bikers were not always aware of safety rules. They thought perhaps maybe more signage might be appropriate to help. And at Tanyard Creek, there are 2 comments. Interviewed a lady with 2 young children. They are originally from Washington State. They love the nature walk. She feels very safe hiking with her 2 young children. She couldn't add anything that needed improvement. And finally, a couple that came here from California, they walk that trail often. The gentleman suggested adding a few directional signs with QR codes that may link with maps with other areas or where I am on the trail at this point. And then finally, our POA staff reports. Jessica really had the most to discuss. Her bullet points would be, the Spring Bazaar is April the 13th. The Rec Center has sold over 300 after-hour fobs. Forgive me, Paul, if I say your last name wrong. Someone in the room can help me. Paul Potch was inducted to the Arkansas Tennis Hall of Fame. It was in the newspaper. It's been everywhere if you haven't seen it, but that's something to be really proud of, a member of our community. The Easter egg hunt will be March 30th, and finally, the marina opens April the 2nd. Questions, comments, concerns? Our next meeting will take place on Monday, March 11th in the boardroom and live stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Paul Pausch won't mind if you, however you say his name. He's a really good guy. Next up is the Lakes Committee. Tom?
So quick update on the rec. We're now at 400 fobs have been sold for the after hours. So a lot of usage after hours, which is outstanding. Lake summary, the January minutes were approved. Similar to the rec committee, we had 2 events for kids that required approval. The first one is the kayak demo day at Lake Ann, and the kids fishing derby, which will take place at Metfield as it normally does. I went over the legal language regarding the e-foils, so the Lakes Committee were 100% up to speed on that. They all agreed with how we put it together. The Lake Windsor drawdown has been delayed until March 1st due to delays, mainly because of the weather in January. It caused some construction delays. Rick is very confident that the lake will come up in a timely manner. That's one of the few lakes that we can feel very comfortable it comes up quickly. And then Rick provided an update regarding the fourth fish habitat, which is going in. And this habitat will be quite a bit larger than the other 3 that are already installed, which will give us a lot of flexibility with regards to growing our own fish. And that was the update for the Lakes Committee.
Thank you. And the Golf JAC report will be delivered by Ruth Hatcher.
Okay, it's a very lengthy one this time because we haven't met for a couple months. Both Daryl and Keith put out year-end reviews, and we encourage everybody to look on the webpage because those are fairly lengthy as to what happened last year and the summary of what went on. So that's available for everybody on the webpage. We encourage you to use it. The Futures Cup is a tournament held by 72 guys who have fun doing it, but use the money they make to give back. And Dave Armstrong presented a check for $6,000 this year to Daryl Muldoon, and to go on the Operations 36 all levels of golfers junior camp, hosting the junior event tournaments, and helping with grab at school uniforms and golf balls. So it's give back, and it's really very kind of them, and they have a good time doing it. Keith's maintenance report: the tree removal, 3 sycamores on number 9 Highlands, or excuse me, on Scottsdale was removed, cutting down other dead trees while courses are closed. Markers, poles, all items are spruced up and put back out around March 1st. Aerification on bent grass courses will be moved up to the end of March, and Scottsdale aerification will be in June. Collars are looking good from Winter Kill, which is good to hear. 340 project. Tunnel was cut last week, and hopefully the concrete was done this week. So things are looking up. They may open up again. The Bella Vista course, all golf courses on Bella Vista won the Arkansas Turfgrass Association 2023 Golf Course of the Year, which is almost unheard of because it's usually one course and usually very exclusive courses that get it. But this year it was awarded to all 5, or actually 7 courses, but 5 superintendents, and everyone is very deserving, and it was a very good honor for all of them, and we congratulate them. Golf operations with Daryl. Ryan Summers was awarded top 50 instructors for Operation 36 program at the country at the PGA show. And expectations for 2024, continue growing the golf and its programs. The biggest challenge will be Tanya Creek being closed during the remodel, and they're working around that, as we're going to talk about shortly. Highlands driving range, club fitting, and teaching will be the back range. Back tees located at 16 tee box are for pros only, so they can go on and continue with their teaching, etc. Daryl has the mobile simulator set up, scheduled with Hannah at Highlands if you'd like to use it. Golf Expo will be the 12th of March at the Rec Center from 4 to 6, and Golf Expo is promoted to 104 golf groups we have in the summer, and that's a pretty fascinating number. The rounds report is the following. 2023 rounds ended 203,243, up 32,386 over last year. So that's a real kudos to the whole entire golf department and everybody that works in it, and actually the people who play. Golf buckets ended 80,022, up 16,076 over last year. I don't understand that, but that's okay. The pro shop sales ended the year at 115% to budget, and a great job by Leslie Terry and her team for bringing in great products for the community. Alex was not there, so Daryl filled in for him. He presented the 2024 tournament list, and he said the tournament sign-up will be posted 6 weeks out of the golf update. So read the schedule, and 6 weeks ahead of time you can sign up and get ready to go. It's challenging each of his golf professionals to be creative with golf tournaments this year, and so it's up to the golf professionals at the courses, not just Alex. General management, Tom said they have hired professional consulting service for the executive search for Keith Eames' replacement. 6 interviews have been narrowed down to 2 candidates at this time. New business. I asked the committee to attend the March 12th Golf Expo and help with setting up, greeting people, and being more visible. And in return, we traded that for the March meeting, which was the next day. So they will have Golf Expo instead of the golf meeting. So we will not meet again until April 10th. And people have asked why we've taken off a couple of months. It's winter months for golf. And so they're not as busy as they have been. And I'm not one that likes to meet for the sake of meeting. And so we've kind of put things together and used them where we can. So other than that, we're ready to go for spring. Questions, comments?
200,000 rounds and they still got the award. That's pretty.
200,000
amazing.
rounds. And you're talking, 7 different courses and 5 different superintendents along with Keith. That's pretty amazing in and of itself. So, yep.
Kudos. Thanks, Ruth.
You bet.
And just a quick update on the search for Keith's replacement. We've brought in the 2 candidates for second interviews. Those will be done by the end of this week. At this point, it appears that we are going to be in the admirable position of having to make a very tough decision with 2 highly qualified candidates. So we'll have some sort of information for the board and the community in the coming weeks, but very pleased that we hired the consulting firm to bring in really good quality candidates, and so really pleased about that. I'm gonna, could you hit that button for me, please?
I wanted to say something.
Oh, you want to say it?
No.
That one. Did you want to say it now?
Yes, I had one comment. There's several mentions in Ruth's report of Operation 36. And that is a program for beginning golfers, whether they be young or not quite young. So you can get more information at any of the pro shops, but it is a tremendous program, and the feedback I've gotten from it is it's an excellent way for people to learn golf. So if you know anybody who's even thinks they're interested, that's a good place to start. Okay, you can have that.
Maybe you could take some lessons from, never mind, going on.
That's the feedback you got.
The feedback you got. All right, I'm going to do the financial report. Beth had to go to the dentist, and so between gauze and Novocaine, she asked me to take over for her. So these are the financials for January. They're already available on our website. And you can see that the consolidated, we were short of a budget and short of prior year. That's 100% weather. This January we had too many too many snow days, and it impacted us. But you'll see that the EBITDA was actually better than budget. The main reason for that is timing. We're going to go over that in just a moment. Keep in mind, this is January. It's a very small revenue month compared to the rest of the year. You can miss a little bit in January, but then you can easily make it up for in May, June, and so forth. So you see that revenue, lot sales, Doug and his team did better than budget by 27,000. Assessments better by 13, investments 9. Golf fees were worse by 55 with all the days closed with snow on the ground. Dock fees worse than budget by 18,000. People just they don't want to get out of the house, so they don't register their boat, and they're not thinking about boating when there's snow on the ground. RV storage 13,000. They just people want to stay home. They don't go and register their boat. F&B down by 7, which is not too bad given how bad the weather was. And then transfers fees down by 10, so you can see the revenue numbers were light of budget.
Hey Tom, real quick, unlike the boat dock fees or something, wouldn't that be a predicted cost that we would know that always in January the boat dock fees would be low?
It's all timing. When they come in, we give them a little bit of latitude, and so if there's snow on the ground, they're going to hold off, and they're going to come in February, or they're going to come in March until they start thinking about it. Boats and RVs, the same thing. Everybody's not thinking about RVing at this time of year, so they may be delayed. we'll start knocking on their door. I mean, we'll start sending them letters, giving them reminders. We give them a little bit of latitude at the beginning of the year because they're just not thinking about it. So if you look at the entire beginning 3 or 4 months, yeah, it's by and large, I don't want to say guaranteed money, but it's by and large static. You can predict what you're going to get. You just don't necessarily know what month you're going to get it.
Because it's a 1 year.
Yeah. Especially with the RVs, it's a 1 year. They're going to do it, and if they for whatever reason decide to not do it, then we have enough of a wait list where we'll fill that spot. But if they're going to do it in January, we're going to give them some latitude during the wintertime.
Example, I'm guilty. Doug from Member Services reminded me my RV money was due, so that's an example.
But based upon that, we have no problem kicking people out immediately.
Yeah, I know.
And just so you know, Jason, I've already paid for my pay.
Okay, put me on that list.
Expenses, so all these, we'll go through them. Maintenance repair, better than budget by 73, tools by 63, supplies 33, outside contracts 28, wages 21 worse, travel 18, and advertising 17. This is all timing. Don't consider these like true savings and everything. It's beginning months of the year. It kind of washes together. I'm sorry. As we get into the year, it'll start washing together. But sometimes they anticipate. The managers will anticipate they're going to buy something in January. It gets delayed and it shows up in February. So the bill, you're high and low. So I don't put a huge amount of weight on the first couple months of the financials because they're smaller revenue months. People miss their budget by a couple weeks or something like that. It's nothing to be overly concerned about one way or the other. On the water side, water sales were down by $17,000, which is, given the size, is really a very small percentage. Water capital buy-in fees were $10,000 worse. We're not going to install a meter if there's snow on the ground, so that's going to have an impact. And then new connections were $9,000 worse. So same reason. Weather has an impact upon the water department also. On the expense side, you'll see that we're pretty darn close to budget, over on maintenance, but under on water distribution equipment, but actually pretty close to the budgeted amount. Here's our cash. So water cash is at 3.5 million. Water reserve is at 1. POA cash is 1.2, and POA reserves is at 1. So that gives us a total cash position of 6.8. So we're doing all right there. And this is the one pager that allows you to see how each of the departments did in the month of January. Once again, there's a lot of not a lot of revenue going on in the month, so I wouldn't run to the bank with any of this. This is I'm not overly concerned with anything right now because February we're already picking up pace, and we're probably going to make up for it because it was beautiful. It was 70 degrees today. It's beautiful. So golfers were out in force, and so that makes up very quickly for the shortfalls in January. So any questions? Outstanding.
I guess I just had one in terms of February stuff we can look forward to. Do you know how food and beverage did for Valentine's Day, or was it a big day for Lake Point? Was it a big day for here?
I don't remember speaking directly. Yeah, actually, I think he did say that they did very well. I just don't remember the specifics. Tommy gave a report along with 12 other department heads, and I can't remember specifically what he said.
Also, Tom, can you remind us when the Gear Garden is slated to open?
That is April 19th, something to that nature. And we're going to do the same thing we did last year. We'll have the 3-day festival. We'll have bands all 3 days and so forth. It proved to be highly successful and well attended last year. So we're going to do the big seasonal bash again. But we encourage everybody to ride their bike in because we have limited parking. What I do, myself and Allison, we park up at Metfield and we ride our bikes down. That way we don't take up any. Riding back is not so fun after a couple of beers, but it's all uphill. You burn it off really quickly. So, yeah.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the open forum. Did anybody sign in? Nobody signed in. Okay. Moving right along, we'll go to the Trafalgar Water Tower renovation project. This is a capital project waiver, something that the state helped us out go over budget. So one of those unforeseen things that the state changes things in the middle. So Tom, did you want to say anything about this?
Well, they added that we have to now install a frost-free vent. We were not aware of that. We've done a lot of renovations to our water towers. This is the first time, that's what they're requiring now. So we installed that. That cost us to be over by $10,000. And then just the ongoing issue of from the time that we get the estimate on the project to the time that we sign the contract was an 8-month period. And we try and bake in, impact for inflation, but this one caught us. So at the end of the day, the project came in at $283,000 compared to $250,000. And in accordance with our policies, we're required to ask for a waiver from the board if the project comes in more than 10% over budget. And I think this is 12 or 13% over budget. So we are requesting a waiver.
Can I have a motion granting that waiver?
I make a motion granting a waiver for the Trafalgar Tower renovation project, which costs $283,095.04 instead of the budgeted amount of $250,000.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Was there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor of the waiver? 9-0. Next on the agenda is policy 3.03, common property, has to do with lakes. This would be the first of 2 required readings. The reason for the change on this policy is because of the new regulations concerning e-foils, paddleboards, kayaks, whatnot, which is our next item on the agenda. So 303 would need a first and second reading. First reading and motion, please.
Make a motion approving the change to the 2024 fishing, boating, and watercraft.
He's on 3.03.
Oh, sorry.
Here, go with this.
It's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Make a motion approving the changes to policy 3.03, common property lakes. This is the first reading of 2 required readings.
Thank you, Jason. Second, JB. I know we've talked about this for a couple times, couple open meetings, rules and regulations. Is there anything other comments that need to be made before we vote? Okay, all those in favor of the change, first reading? 9-0. Thank you.
Let me jump in. And for viewers at home, if you're just watching this meeting and you have not watched the Rules and Regs Committee meeting, and if you have not watched the work session, we encourage you to watch those. We're specifically at the Rules and Regulations Committee meeting, they discussed this policy and the other policies in great length. So if you're just watching this meeting only and you're wondering why the board kind of went through this vote very quickly, well, there was a lot of work that was done beforehand, and so I don't want anybody at home to think that the board shortchanged the discussion. It's been fully vetted already.
And this issue dates back to last summer. So it's been in the works for quite some time. It's not something that's been rushed through quickly. But we need to get it done before the boating season. Maybe when we get this done, people will rush over to member services and register their boats. Jason.
I don't have a boat, I have an RV.
Okay, Jason, would you like to make another motion?
I would love to. I make a motion approving changes to the 2024 fishing, boating, and watercraft regulations. This is the first of one required reading.
Thank you, Jason. Second by Jerry. Okay, this is another one. It's been talked about quite a bit. This is the one that says what you can put on our lakes and what you can't. So we get this approved, get it printed, and get it out to the people who have registered their boats. Then they'll be able to go register because they'll know what the rules are. And I'm sure there will be a rush at member services. Okay, is there any other comments on this one? This is a regulation, just takes one reading.
I have
Jackie?
a comment that this, obviously based on attendance input, was a very viable and interesting topic, and we want to make sure we captured everything properly, and I just commend the Rules and Regulations Committee for the detail that y'all did doing this in the time frame that we did it, because it reads very well and very clear. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I know legal spent quite a bit of time on this to get the wording right, hopefully. Okay,
I'll
for the
tune in
vote
on
then.
that
All
too,
those-
Jackie.
Oh, Mike?
Well, I was just gonna say that this is a great example of how the POA has to evolve as technology evolves, and although our declarative rights and everything are back 60 years ago, there's many elements that we continue to have to evolve year after year, decade after decade. And so this is a great example of technology coming in and making us change some. So it's a good example going forward as we look to continue to evolve.
True. Okay, all those in favor? The regulations are passed. Okay, next up is concerns declaration and protective covenants summary. As Mike said, 50-some years ago, things were stated a little differently, and if you've ever tried to read the declaration and protective covenants, you may be a little confused at some of the wording. What we're going to vote on here is notes. Is that correct? Additions to try to put in common language so that a person who is not an attorney can understand what in the world are they saying. So
You'll notice in the suggested motion, the key word there is summary. This is a summary. It is not changing the declaration. That is a very high threshold to change the declaration. It takes a vote of the entire membership. You can, and near impossible to do. This is simply a summary to make it easier to read. As David indicated, the declaration was written in 1965 for attorneys, by attorneys, not easy to read. We're hopefully making it easier to read and understand.
and I've read the notes, as we all have, and they do help. So, okay, we would need a motion on that. Anybody want to make that motion?
I make a motion approving the declaration and protective covenant summary. This is the first of 2 required readings.
Thank you.
Second.
JB on the second on that. Additional comments?
I'll just tune in here and say that this is the most important document we have for the POA and for the community, and it's a chance that we get to talk about it a little bit tonight, and all the good work that's gone into helping people read it and digest it and kind of understand it more. So hopefully all those viewers at home and just in the future will be able to look back at this moment and pull into where they can catch themselves up to speed like they never had before. And so big kudos to you guys for tackling that, because it's super important. The community is growing so much, and this is the single most important document governing it. So that's good work.
Yeah, this is the superseding document. This is the big kahuna.
Mm-hmm.
It's the top one. So, all those in favor of the summary being added? Thank you, 9-0. That would bring us to the end of our agenda and time for announcements. Recreation JAC meeting will meet Monday, the 11th at 4 p.m. here in the boardroom, the 11th of March, that is. Meet the candidates forum is at Lake Point, March the 12th at 6 p.m. There is a community blood drive also on that day at Lake Point. You can sign up at redcrossblood.org and enter BVPOA.
And Jessica talked me into, if we have 50 donations, I will jump into Loch Lomond Lake in March as celebration.
Oh, March, how about next January?
Why don't you just go ahead and do it now? And
No.
pay later.
Okay. The Lakes JAC meeting Wednesday, the 13th of March at 2 p.m. here in the boardroom. And you said there was not a March golf.
No, we're trading the golf meeting on the 13th, we'll have the 12th at Expo instead. We'll be at the Expo instead,
At the Expo instead.
on the
So
12th.
there you go. The next Board of Directors meeting is a GM meeting on Thursday, the 14th at 2:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. It's a closed meeting. The work session will follow on Thursday, the 21st at 9 a.m. here in the boardroom, followed by the regular monthly March meeting where we do the voting on the 28th here in the boardroom at 6 p.m. Were there any other items? In that case, we can be adjourned.